The anticipation that the next episode, things will really get going.
Yes, it's a con. In some cases, it's really not a con, but in most cases, it is.
I think we're in the early days of, we gotta have a streaming service.
Well, that's the thing, is like everybody...
We need a product. We need product. That was gonna be a movie. We'll make it long and put it on a TV show now.
We need 12 shows to appeal to keep the Star Wars fans subscribed to Disney+. They're 38% of our subscribers. The other 62 are people who want to watch kid shit.
7 years from now, everyone will have their shit together and they'll know exactly how to produce content appropriately.
Everything will be consolidated to 4 or 5 streaming services instead of 120.
Sure.
There'll be a new Obi-Wan show. Another one in 7 years. The Further Adventures of Obi-Wan.
With CGI Guinness.
Yeah. Luke will be 16 and he'll have an adventure with Obi-Wan. And then he just won't talk about it in A New Hope. That old man's just a crazy old wizard. He said something about Ben Kenobi? Yeah, some crazy old wizard. I had a fucking adventure with him 2 years ago. We stormed the pre-Death Star and blew it up.
There'll be something hidden in the show, though, that says that in A New Hope, he's pretending to not know it, right?
In case the Empire's listening in on frequency.
Sure.
He was faking it the whole time. All the way up until when he's talking to his ghost in Return of the Jedi. My ghost is going to sit on this log and have a chat with you, Luke.
We need a streaming limited series to explain why Force Ghosts can sit on logs. Is that coming soon to Disney Plus?
Force Ghost just pretending.
He was just pretending to sit on the log, so Luke felt more comfortable having a discussion with the ghost.
All right. We need 8 episodes to explain that.
Is Liam Neeson gonna have a cameo at the end of this?
Yes.
I'm assuming so. I've been waiting for it. They brought him up once already.
Because they mentioned the Force talking with Qui-Gon. He's going to say, Qui-Gon, Master. That'll be the end.
He's got his faith back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Then he shows up. He sees him in the distance.
They made a point of showing that in the recap of the prequel.
In your solitude, training I have for you. Your old master. How to commune with him, I will teach you.
Commune with Qui-Gon, you will. And then he's like, Master Qui-Gon, where are you? And then he doesn't get a response. And at the end, Obi-Wan will be beaten to the pulp by Darth Vader and Reva and all that. And Qui-Gon will be able to.
Obi-Wan. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, I don't know. How does Liam Neeson sound? How does he sound? He'll appear like in the distance. It'll be like that scene, Well, it'll be like the moment in.
I'm a Force Ghost. I have a very specific set of talents. And I will haunt you.
Now take the fucking elephant.
I will haunt you. Leia's been taken. It's the perfect shot for Liam Neeson.
Oh my God! This should have been a Qui-Gon show.
It should have been. Qui-Gon's ghost comes and gets you. I have a specific set of skills of the Force ghost. Bing! Reva's all pissed. Being beaten by a fucking ghost! This is not what was supposed to happen. I was supposed to be Darth Vader's right-hand man. Lady.
And everyone says, Reva, settle down. You're only like 18 years old. You got plenty of time ahead of you.
A crummy commercial? Son of a bitch.
Anakin Skywalker is alive.
They made me care about the most boring character in all of Star Wars. I applaud this show. It's a major achievement.
What are you talking about? Qui-Gon hasn't shown up yet.
Obi-Wan was worse.
You think?
Yeah.
Maybe I just like Ewan McGregor.
Obi-Wan was Ewan McGregor's a fine actor. Obi-Wan was a terrible character who had no personality for 3 movies other than he was very proper. That was his personality trait.
He was best friends with Anakin.
No, he wasn't.
They were best friends.
Did you watch those movies?
They went
never
on
got
all
along,
sorts of
yet they were
adventures
great
together
friends.
that we never saw.
God, I hate this movie so fucking much.
You just wish it was done differently, right? Like, Obi-Wan could have been a great character.
He could have been, yeah.
I mean,
well, that's why I was interested in this show, because I think they had the right actor in what could have been the right part. and it was like a wasted opportunity. This show was a chance to do more with him, and they've kind of done that.
They have done more with it. They're not doing terribly much, but they've done a lot more with it.
You're looking for somebody else.
What are you doing here, Obi-Wan?
My name is Ben.
Yeah, I like the restraint where he's out of touch with being a Jedi. He's trying to move like a little tiny thing. He doesn't take his lightsaber out for 3 episodes. He doesn't do the Force mind trick on the stormtroopers on the bus. You know, like he was in the.
He probably knows he can't yet. He's
Those
lost
aren't
his,
the droids you're looking for.
He's
No.
lost his mojo.
Well, yeah, maybe he can't even do it, and then or he's so hesitant to use any Force power ever to set on a red flag.
It feels like a little bit of both.
Right, and then so that's some interestingness going
Yes.
on. I mean, like again, the bar is so low in television. I'm just scrambling for anything.
No, all that stuff is genuinely interesting.
Yeah.
That's what's weird though, is the contrast between that and the like awkward cheapness.
The awkward cheapness is great. It's a benefit. It's a positive, because it's not watching them fight on Mustafar for 45 minutes in a spectacular show. I was thinking about that when I was watching The Northman. I was going to bring this up. I think I mentioned in my review of The Revenge of the Sith, where it's like, all we need is 30 seconds of them fighting on the lava planet, and the end of
that's what you
the
get at the end of
Northman.
The Northman, yeah.
It's like perfect. It's he shows up and he's like, "Yeah," and the other guy's like, "Yeah," and then they clang swords for like a minute and a half, and then there's some stabbings and beheadings, and then it ends.
Anakin wasn't nude when they were fighting, though.
No, they
So
weren't.
that was a little
they
different,
didn't
but-
strip down their nudies, but they didn't have to flip around on giant things melting in lava, falling off.
Surfing on hovers.
Oh, yeah, they jump
fighting
on those.
equipment.
It was so stupid.
Oh, God.
It was, and so when Vader and Obi-Wan's like, oh my God, what? Vader's here? He probably doesn't even know what his suit looks like. He probably sensed that it was Anakin. He's like, oh my God, you look like a robot monster. And then Obi-Wan just is like, oh my God. And then they hit the swords, and like you said, he was fighting one-handed.
Yeah.
I noticed that. And he did that in Empire.
Yeah.
He fought Luke one-handed because he wasn't trying to kill Luke. So he's just like, I'm Vader. I'm awesome. You can't stop me. And he was doing the same thing with Obi-Wan. And Obi-Wan's like, oh my God.
He doesn't feel like he has to put any effort into fighting him.
Yeah, because he's Darth Vader. He really didn't, and he wasn't really trying to kill Obi-Wan. But and so yeah, them just fighting for a minute and then him running away. I was like, that's great. I don't know. I kind of love it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm with you, Mike. This is a triumph.
It's a triumph for Star Wars.
This is a triumph for Star Wars.
Get back to its roots of being cheap.
Considering all of the horse shit that Star Wars has been since the 90s, this is a triumph.
I would say that The Mandalorian is a much better example of what you could do in this universe with this kind of budget. That's the first season of that show is genuinely good.
Yeah.
This show is crap, and it's sporadically entertaining.
But it is going back to the roots a little, and you could say that it's rehashing, because that's your big complaint with Star Wars, is that it's creatively bankrupt. And
Yeah.
this is proof that that's true, because the only thing they could think of to do is, we're hunting down Obi-Wan, and we got to rescue little Leia from a space prison, which is the fucking New Hope, essentially, and it's the same
that
thing.
episode 4 is basically them on the Death Star.
Right, yeah.
Or them on, the Death Star.
So it's, but like, that's what it is.
But I'm entertained, and I'm not sitting there miserable.
It's
That's
different
another
enough.
benefit to the first season of The Mandalorian, though, is that it's not. I mean, it's still a still a Boba Fett looking character, but it's new characters.
Right.
It's just set in that world, but
Yeah.
now we're back to
Right,
little
right,
baby
right.
Leia and all that.
Oh,
so.
season 1 of The Mandalorian was better than this. Yes.
But if they do a season 2, then it's going to be a member-berry nightmare world of Darth Mauls and everything coming back, and they'll fuck it up, is what I'm trying to say. So enjoy this first little chunk of Obi-Wan fun, and move on with your life. That's what I'm gonna do. That's what, they'll screw something up.
Thumbs up, I guess.
Rich, you're the Roman emperor.
That's true. When it comes to Star Wars stuff, you're the most cynical and removed from it. So.
Well, here's the thing. The things I tend to like with Star Wars, all the Star Wars fans hate.
That's true.
And when Star Wars fans hate something,
That's like everybody hated what they did with Luke in The Last Jedi, even though it was the most interesting thing in the movie. Everybody was upset about that. So I think there's complaints about this show, too, kind of doing to Obi-Wan what they did to Luke in The Last Jedi, where he's like a loser. It's like, well, you got to have somewhere for him to go.
the Jedis...
He has to grow throughout the season.
All have creepy cult personalities.
Yeah.
And you need to do something to make them interesting. And having them fallen, that's interesting. And that's why Rian Johnson stole my idea and didn't give me any credit for it. But it's also what all the Star Wars fans seem to hate.
Yeah.
So I get the bitching about it.
Yeah, I think they're finding a common ground here, where Luke Skywalker never fought with a lightsaber in The Last Jedi, in the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
His just a projection, an astral projection of him did.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where. So Obi-Wan is both fallen and kind of pathetic, but at the same time he's still swinging his saber around and chopping up stormtroopers.
He's trying to get his mojo back.
Obi-Wan got his mojo back. So
That would be a better episode name for the series. How Obi-Wan got his mojo back.
yeah,
It's great.
so they found that line. They're like, fans want to see Luke Skywalker chop up stormtroopers and save the day, not be a ghost.
But he can't be a
just
boring,
die.
emotionless motherfucker either.
Yes, exactly. Right. That's why I think Obi-Wan's going to be smooching on that lady. Because she's a lady, and he's a man, and they're going to fall in love, and he's going to say, but it's forbidden.
No, she's going to get chopped up by Darth Vader.
I can't imagine Obi-Wan Kenobi doing anything wrong.
It's just Ben these days.
Well, Tyler.
He's going to say it's forbidden with the Jedi Order that I fall in love. Look what happened to Anakin. She said, the Jedi aren't really around anymore. Come in the back of my snowspeeder. There's plenty of room.
Come in the back of my horse camel.
How many times have I heard that?
I can't be with you. I have to go back to this desert planet and stalk this 10-year-old for the rest of my life.
I got to creep on a 10-year-old boy.
Yeah.
They'll smooch, though. They'll have a smooch, and they'll say, I would, but I can't. I have greater duty, and it's to creep on,
a 10-year-old
boy.
Jared Fogle, A Star Wars Story.
I have to bring some of this Subway meat back to my camel feed my anteater's camel nose with Subway meat.
No wonder those things have gas.
That's from all the whale blubber Obi-Wan's been feeding. Yeah. So he's smooching on the lady, and he's going to say, our love is forbidden. I'll still give you a smooch, so that we tone down that creepy celibate thing that Obi-Wan has and make him a little more relatable. But he'll say, I can't because I have taken a strict oath to be a Jedi, and I'm going to stick with it even if we're all wiped out. Sorry, lady. But he's got to go back to Tatooine after saving little Leia. Goes back to the parade. And she's waving from her floating space car at the parade on Alderaan. By the way, get out of Alderaan pretty soon, everybody, okay? Leia, tell everyone, I read the next script and it's not looking good for Alderaan, okay? Yeah, we'll be back to see the conclusion, see if do we have predictions. Little Leia will get, what's the final battle? Will Reva get impaled by Obi-Wan's lightsaber? Will he bump her off? What about the other Inquisitors? Will Obi-Wan defeat them in battle?
Darth Vader has to show up again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't have any specific predictions. Normally, I'm full
There's
of them.
so little story to the show that I don't really care.
That's why. I mean, that's kind of why it works in a way. It's just simple fun. It's not trying to do too much. It's fine. Just
doesn't make it very engaging. Like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen next. I don't really care. I'll continue watching it. It's watchable.
it's super okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Check it out, everybody. It's super okay.
Smells like sulfur.
Yeah, it's warm in here.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we're in hell! We must be talking about Picard Season 2.
That new show produced by Alex Kurtzman.
Now, Rich, I was shocked to receive a text message from you saying, are we talking about Star Trek Picard? I was just completely ready to not watch it. I haven't watched Star Trek Discovery Season 3 or the beginning of Season 4. I've written all these things off. And I was about to write off Star Trek Picard, and Rich Evans texts me at 4:30 in the morning and says, Mike, are we doing Star Trek Picard Season 2? I was like, what is he, drunk? I'm like, what? No, we're not. Do you want to? I was just done with it. And then you said, I think we should. And I said, all right, I'll watch the first episode. But the surprising part is, I was shocked to discover I didn't totally and completely hate it. What? Oh.
What?
Oh my God.
Oh my God! It's cold all of a sudden.
I think hell just froze over because we absolutely 100% didn't totally hate Star Trek Picard.
And that phrasing is very important. Didn't totally 100% absolutely hate Star Trek Picard. We're going to talk about Star Trek Picard Season 2 on this episode of I Absolutely Hate Myself.
Sorry, yes, thank you.
And we're back.
Oh my God, that was a credit sequence.
I'm glad I wore my Captain Picard hoodie. I thought maybe this is a little too warm for hell, but now it worked out.
You know what? Hell just had like a light frosting.
Okay.
It is a light frosting of hell. Here's the thing. I did not completely hate episode 1 of season 2 of Picard, but the way they fucking do TV shows now, the first episode of season 2 of Picard is like judging a movie based on the first 6.5 minutes.
Sure.
It's like, did you like Titanic? I don't know. I only saw the first 6.5 minutes.
I understand what you're saying. However,
Oh, you have paper.
yeah. I wanted to note, I believe that now everything we say here will be wrong
Oh, yeah.
because this show will eventually shit the bed. So the first thing I do is watch the credits, of course, and I'm looking for new names. Mm-hmm. New names. And of course there are 20 listed producers.
That's not shocking.
There's 20 listed producers, and I'm looking for new names, and I see a lot of the same old names. And so I was like, you know, once they get to the final 19, 17, 18, 19 producers, and then you start getting the big ones like Kurtzman and Goldsman, I'm like, okay, all right, it's the same team. This can't go right.
Yeah.
But it seems as if they may have taken some notes from the backlash. Because as much as they tried to hide it, Picard is the greatest show ever, all the feels, butterfly tears. That's what got me banned from the official CBS Paramount Plus Star Trek Twitter account. It was this tweet right here. where I mocked. I said my favoriteest part was when Picard turned into an undead zombie and Data killed himself. I wrote all these like things, and I said it gave me all the feels. Hashtag butterfly tears. All the bots were saying that.
Yeah.
The fake Twitter accounts that they generated in order to give the show phony praise. So I think the show in general didn't perform as expected, and someone out there took some notes. As I have some adjectives to describe season 1, and let me know if you have any more.
Okay.
To throw in the ring here. Depressing, nihilistic, angry, disgusting, foul-mouthed, hopeless, cold, sterile, ugly, gross, mean-spirited, juvenile, simplistic, blunt, and
Stupid.
Dumb.
Okay. Oh, good. Oh, good. I'm glad we didn't miss that one.
That's a less, less complicated word there, but just straight up dumb.
Because that's really the most shocking thing about modern Star Trek, isn't it? The dumb.
The dumb. And so a couple of quick notes on the first season, right?
Uh-huh.
And this is, I think, what was so off-putting about it. They tried to tell some kind of epic story. They tried to make it very gritty and...
Well, because everything has to be a season-long story arc now.
Well, of course.
Has to be.
That's set in stone.
And they didn't tell a good story, and they didn't explore Picard's character in any meaningful way other than the extremely superficial, Borg bad thing happened, made me sad.
Yeah. Yeah. So but we'll talk about Picard.
Sure. Sure.
Characters were trying too hard to be tortured, complex, and dark. Soji, our noir heroine, trying to find out about her dark past. Raffi, drug-addled and carrying the baggage of her past. Rios, alcoholic and carrying the baggage of his past. 7 of 9, psychotic and carrying the baggage of her past. Those are our main characters. Remember I had the graphic where everyone was either a murderer or a psychopath? and so that is the dumb person way of giving a character complexity.
Yeah.
Is to have a horrible, tragic event in their past that defines them. And the first season was filled with that.
You don't think they're getting at that with Picard in this season?
That's what I want to talk about.
I know.
That's the big butt.
know.
That's one of our big butts.
But also mixed in with the flashbacks were looked like horrible murder scenes. So it's gonna be dumb.
That's where the big D comes in, the big dumb.
Yeah.
Because we've explored, this is where they all sat around their writer's room. Their dry erase boards and their fancy shoes and pants and their rich Hollywood money, and they said, well, what do we know about Picard's mother? We know about his father, right? His father was an asshole.
Even now, you manage to disappoint me, Jean-Luc.
And he hated him. And his brother was an asshole. What do we know about Picard's mother? Well, he hasn't really said much. Taking the time to have a complex character relationship. I mean, first of all, who gives a fuck about his mother? Picard's almost 100 years old, right? Mm-hmm. I think any issues he might have as a person with how he dealt or grew up with his mother when he was 9 have long been put to rest.
Yeah, people hold on to baggage.
He's 97 years old and he's an undead android.
It's a bit late to be resolving issues from your childhood, but it's a valid thing to try to do with his character.
He needs to be searching for a grave plot, okay? Not resolving issues with what happened when he was 7.
Why is it important for Jean-Luc to explore the road not taken at this stage in his life?
Because he's still alive and his life is continuing.
I had some major predictions last season that were wrong. Some major predictions that I completely whiffed. I have a big prediction for this season.
Oh, do tell, Rich.
It's gonna be completely wrong.
Usually you're right, but
Picard's mother
is the Borg
is the
monster?
Borg queen.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Picard's mother is gonna be the Borg queen.
That's new.
That's the traumatic accident that happened in Picard's past. His mother was abducted by Borg, and she got abducted trying to save Picard from the Borg. and they took his mother instead, and Picard got like hit in the head, and he doesn't really remember what happened, and that's why he went into space, Mike. All this whole time, he doesn't really remember it, but he's been searching for his mother. You know I'm right.
The Queen is stunning them, not killing them.
Oh.
It's getting hotter in here.
Yeah.
2, 1.
Yeah, so spoiler alert for the very first episode of Picard. The ending, a big Borg ship comes through a spatial anomaly, and they're asking specifically for Picard. They want to have peace talks. And so they bring Picard out, and a creature appears on the bridge of the new Stargazer, and it looks like a female form.
It's Dr. Borgtopus.
Yes, she's got
tentacles that start shooting into everything.
But she has kind of like a weird like chainmail look. And
why would they conceal her face?
Yes, it doesn't look like the classic representation of the Borg Queen, which is this. This is the usual look of the Borg Queen. This is from Star Trek First Contact, originally played by Alice Krieg and then played by Other Lady in the Voyager series.
This is how you retcon this. You say that the reason the Borg wanted to make Picard Locutus in the first place is because Picard's mommy's been looking for him too. That was her way of trying to reunite themselves.
So his mother got kidnapped/assimilated.
This is my baseless speculation.
A single change in Los Angeles, 2024.
To save the future, we have to repair the past.
Hold on.
This is one thing I wrote down to pick up about the positives. Picard's commencement address.
Yeah.
He references a line, "Let's see what's out there."
And let's see what's out there.
He attributed the quote to his mother.
I choose to leave you with the words of my mother.
And of course, Picard, at the very end of Encounter at Farpoint, his line that closes the show is, "Let's see what's out there."
Let's see what's out there.
Why is he attributing "let's see what's out there" to his mother? Your Borg theory is gonna be right.
Even though in a complete vacuum, I did not hate episode 1 of season 2 of Picard, I have no faith in any of the creative team. No faith at all. I have a solid wall of bile built up to them, and that bias is just in me. I can't get past it. I can get past it enough to say, well, there's nothing specifically in this that I hated.
Right.
But I'm waiting for like the ceiling to collapse on me.
Yeah.
And the nightmares to start.
Yeah. She must be the super queen, right?
Yeah, she's the super queen. They turned Picard's mother into the super Borg queen. She's the queen of all the Borg queens.
Yeah, you're probably right, as sad as it is. I don't think I can go that dumb.
Alex Kurtzman.
Are there any ideas or possibilities that just keep you super charged up about the franchise?
For me,
real quick.
Well, are we going back to positives?
We're gonna go back to positives.
Are we gonna freeze hell back over?
We could leave hell.
We're gonna leave hell be.
Because now I'm in hell.
Now you're in.
And I don't think it's gonna change now that you've said that. Because that's gonna be our big twist. We don't even need to watch the rest of the season.
Now, I predicted in season 1 that the Romulans created the Borg, and I was completely wrong.
Yeah, you're right.
So I could be hopefully I am completely wrong.
So, I said all my words to describe season 1, right? Thinking about Star Trek fans in general, here's a couple of little changes they made, right? Picard's commencement address at the Starfleet Academy graduation ceremony. Nice.
Yeah.
It put Starfleet in a little positive light. All the cadets were going off on their missions. It was lovely. The first time we saw Starfleet in the other one was when the Admiral called him a fuckface, and it was gross, and no one knew who Picard was.
Oh, yeah, and another positive is we have a new Admiral figure who does not call Picard a fuckface.
Right. Rios is now the captain of the Stargazer.
Yeah.
He is not, he still has a cigar, but he's not an angry, miserable alcoholic. Like I said, all the characters don't, and whether or not they should be doing jobs in Starfleet as opposed to being in prison.
Agnes specifically. They hand-waved the fuck out of that.
Yeah. And what's his face? The Romulan kid. Elnor.
That made me cringe a bit. Like, what the fuck? He spent his whole life training to be a Romulan super ninja, and he just on a whim, he decided to go to Starfleet, and he graduated in 1.5 years.
He was inspired by Picard. And he had a penchant for beheading people. Remember when all those dudes surrounded Picard on
But
Romulus?
I give them credit. He is not beheading people currently.
Okay.
I give them credit. Credit where due, Mike.
But some guy kind of threatened Picard, so he beheaded him. And I guess there's no consequence for that?
No, of course not.
Okay.
No, of course not.
All right, so you just joined Starfleet. You're the kind of person we want in Starfleet. Now this is nitpicky stuff. This is nerd stuff, but and this could have been budget related in the first season. But I said more than one kind of Starfleet ship. They have a fleet. I noticed an Akira class ship, an Excelsior class. They had kind of updated versions of vintage 23rd, 24th century ships.
The new Stargazer?
The new Stargazer, Excelsior, they had
They
a
said
Galaxy.
something that confused me.
Okay.
Maybe you can clarify this.
Sure.
They describe the Stargazer as being a refit. Is this supposed to be the old Stargazer that Picard?
No, he says, well, not this ship.
Well, the Stargazer was my first command. Not this Stargazer, of course.
Okay.
When he's walking down the hallway, he's like.
Because they also call it a refit, and someone on the writing team, I'm assuming, doesn't know what the fuck that actually means.
That might have been wires crossed.
The older these refits get, the younger they look. Unlike myself.
Okay.
They did find the Stargazer adrift.
Yes, yes. This very well could be a refit.
Didn't get blowed up, did it? No,
I think they just hauled it away.
Yeah. Maybe they mean redesign of an older class of ship.
I think the writer was
A
just
refit
fucking dumbass
yeah.
and thought a refit was just an entirely new ship. That's what I think.
The older these refits get, the younger they look.
It's very possible that the people writing Star Trek don't understand Star Trek at all.
Oh, do you think?
Yes, I'm pretty sure about that.
Well, this is a new ship, but she's got the right name.
So yeah, before when Riker shows up with the fleet, they had 700 Star Trek ships, Starfleet ships, and they were all just clones of each other. Mm-hmm. And he's on one, and he's like, "I'm on the most powerful ship in all of Starfleet," and then all of them were all the same, and it felt lazy, like they thought the fans or whoever's watching this don't care, which they're probably right, but it kind of isolated a little segment of people like me who appreciate all the different classes of Star Trek starships. Mm-hmm. And I was happy to see some of those. And then, you know, if there was a barrel here, I'm scraping the bottom of it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's where we're at.
And so you have a classic kind of opening. Rios is commanding the Stargazer, and then there's a space anomaly. And they're investigating a space anomaly. Picard is in love with his Romulan house servant.
That feels
weird.
It's weird. I wish you were actually around for the entirety of the previous season and they had some interaction with each other, and that would have worked better for me. It feels a bit tacked on, so they can have some kind of subplot about Picard not opening up to people.
It's like there were boxes that needed to be checked.
Yes.
They're like, we've done the Borg thing, we've done whatever. What about love, and what about his mother? He's 98 years old and he's a robot. Who gives a fuck about love at this point? I don't even care about his character anymore. He's just too darn old.
I'm gonna nitpick on top of your nitpicks.
Okay.
In Star Trek terms, is Picard that old? Because we all know, Mike, you know,
yeah,
that Bones Was touring the Enterprise D at 125 years old, Mike.
Yeah.
125. Picard is a spry, middle-aged man
No.
in terms of the medical technology of Starfleet.
Yes. I know what you're saying. Bones was looking pretty darn old.
But he was 125 or 130?
I think
he was old.
I think it was 134.
How old do you think I am anyway?
137 years, Admiral, according to Starfleet records.
I think it was 134. I think.
Yeah.
And so yeah, but that's the limit of human lifespan. And so yes, but is a romance something we want from an elderly statesman / diplomat?
Oh. That's something that Patrick Stewart wanted.
Please go on.
Maybe.
I think does he still want to be the leading action man?
No, I don't.
You don't think so?
I don't know.
You don't think so? That's not a little bit what's going on there?
Are you talking about his ego?
I'm talking about his ego, yes.
I don't know what's going on inside his head.
From Jean-Luc's point of view, they might be somewhat romantic, which I have enjoyed very much indeed.
Then he meets up with Guinan. You want to talk about that? Do you have anything to say about that?
It's nice to see Guinan again. I thought the aging excuse was kind of bullshit.
It was stupid.
It's stupid. I have enough goodwill towards Guinan if they didn't explain it at all. Why she suddenly aged when she ages very slowly. I'd hand wave that. I'd been okay if they didn't say anything. They threw in an explanation specifically for nerds like us, not knowing that we wouldn't probably give a shit. And it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. Well,
it's fine.
for anyone out there who's confused, Guinan, played by Whoopi Goldberg, is not a human. She's an El-Orian, and they lived for a very long time. Example. She was
like 700, right?
Something like that. She was the bartender on 10 Forward on the Enterprise D, and then she was also palling around with Mark Twain.
I am from the 24th century, where you and I serve aboard a starship. And?
500 years earlier, and she looked identical. So El-Orians lived for 1,000+ years. The show, then she's like, well, and Picard's like, oh, hi, Guinan. Oh, my God, you know. Although Whoopi Goldberg doesn't look that much older.
No.
She looks great. Yeah. Like, you didn't even need the line. But,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but their line is, and Jay, are you around? Yeah. Let me get your opinion on this. Okay. So here, you kind of listen to what we were saying. Yeah. So now we're jumping from Star Trek The Next Generation to Star Trek Picard, which is roughly 30 years-ish, and Guinan has aged the amount that Whoopi Goldberg has aged, right? Yeah. So Guinan's line is this. Picard says, oh, Guinan, you got real old. And she says, well, you know...
El-Orians age so very slowly.
Yes, but only if we choose to.
I realize I hang around with humans, so El-Orians have a special ability to suddenly speed up their aging if they want to.
Now, I noticed that humans don't like to be reminded of their mortality, so I try to keep up.
I hope that picks up.
Now, Jay...
Yes. She chose to age to not freak out the people around her.
Yes, and she's running a bar in Los Angeles on the Forward District, Forward Street, and
oh my God, I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so stupid.
The address is
that's
10
so stupid.
Forward. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Oh.
They show a sign. It's like the Forward District, Forward Avenue, and then the address of the bar is 10 Forward.
I caught Forward Avenue, but I was thinking, is this a street we've seen before? Why I didn't, because I didn't know Whoopi Goldberg was going to show up.
Right. Yeah.
But in hindsight, yeah, that's so stupid.
Yeah. But here, Jay, after thinking about it for about 10 seconds, or maybe 1 second, here's a better line, right? Okay. Guinan, you look kind of old. Well, after 1,000, El-Orians start to get a little older. Or, you know, how about that?
I was talking to Jay before we filmed, before you showed up. I said the exact same thing. The exact same thing.
It seems like less stupid?
Yeah.
Right? Is that
I mean, yeah, this is major nitpicking. This isn't something I hate, but it's fun to dissect.
You know, when you're looking at like famous celebrities, like, I don't know, Bob Barker, Dick Clark, Bob Hope, right? And you from age 50 to age 80, they kind of look the same. Then overnight, they just, oh my God.
Yep.
Let's call it the Burt Reynolds syndrome.
Okay.
Where they look.
Okay.
Or what's Tom Selleck look like these days? You know, Tom Selleck, he's got the mustache and he looks.
I think he's still on a TV show. We're probably still seeing him under heavy makeup.
But Tom Selleck is going to he's going to be on the cover of National Enquirer, like Tom Selleck's final days, and
his eyes are going to be red, and he's going to have like bags under his eyes down to here.
They're always bleeding from the eyes, and they look gaunt and sickly.
His jaw's going to be just hanging open.
Yeah. So it's like boom. And so that's the explanation from Guinan. Maybe she'll lightheartedly say, you know, after 1,000, you know, aging kind of speeds up for us. Do you like that Picard went to her for advice, but then told her nothing that was wrong with him? You got some kind of thing going on, Picard. Are you in love? Did something happen where your mother got stabbed with a piece of glass, then turned into a Borg queen? There's some deep secret within you, Picard, that we haven't talked about on our TV show.
You came for me to talk about it. Now why don't you tell me about it?
Okay, bye.
Because that was for the audience. We got to see Guinan, Mike.
We got a glimpse into the mystery. And we got to see Guinan.
Mike,
what's Guinan doing? She's working at a bar.
Mike, do you remember when hell froze over when you kind of liked the episode? I noticed a lot of things. It sounds like people are trying to talk epic and mysterious. Like the whole romance scene with Romulan woman.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the fuck they were talking about because so much of what they said was steeped in vague, mysterious speech.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
What are you looking for?
She's like, have you always...
Or you have never been looking.
Yeah, why did you go to the stars?
When I first came to work here, I saw you as a man who chose the stars. And after all this time, I've come to wonder, have you been seeking or running?
As you say, I've spent my life in the stars. The part of me that really wants is the part that has to wait in line.
Yeah, but then you got the Girardi, the murderer. And she jokes, she's at the bar. Remember that Soji is like doing some kind of like, is she like ambassador?
I think she's doing Android People ambassador work.
Something like that. And Girardi's flying around with her and she's at the bar, remember? And she's like drunk. And she does say...
I fucking hate Agnes.
She does say that she's half in the bag.
Hey, well, look, I'm half in the bag anyway, so I'm gonna give you a little advice.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that. That is a term, not necessarily a reference, Mike.
Well, I don't know.
I doubt any of the current Star Trek writers like you. I highly doubt them.
Was it a shot?
Alex Kurtzman did not say, you know, I want to make a homage to Red Letter Media. I want to give them a shout out.
Yeah. But anyways, she's at the bar and there's like a guy that's like hitting on her and you know, and she's like, we get you, and it's kind of like, it felt like sitcom dialogue or acting. It's like, I don't know. I like the characters in the Star Trek: The Next Generation, how like mannered and mature the human race had become. You know what I mean? Sure,
well, that's not exciting enough.
Sure, they had their moments when they would do something crazy or silly, you know, but And then she joked around. She's like, well, when I was partially psychotic, I murdered this guy.
My longest lasting intimate relationship, including the one that I just ended, is less than a year. I was recently cleared of murdering my previous boyfriend due to alien-induced temporary insanity, so I'm not exactly dating material, you know?
Another martini. She makes a joke about that, and you're like, okay, they're trying to, another thing I wanted to mention too, they're trying to diffuse that or
sweep it under the rug.
Sweep it under the rug. Acknowledge it, but not make a big deal about it. Yeah, she murdered some guy. But you know, I think it's just like, hey, it's the old like, if you save the universe thing, you can get a pass, right? You can behead people. You can commit genocide, you can murder anybody, you can do, as long, the ends do justify the means in Star Trek, as long as you save that universe. If it turns out you were wrong, then you go to prison. Kirk and his friends, they stole the Enterprise and they blew it up. But, you know.
They saved the whales.
They saved the Earth from a giant piece of sausage in space that was going to tear up the planet trying to talk to whales. They happened to be there, and so they said, you know what, in light of the circumstances, there were no beheadings in Star Trek III, The Search for Spock.
Did we ever find out what the fuck that thing wanted to talk to whales about so badly?
No, it's a private thing. They've been communicating for eons, Rich, across vast distances of space. That's how whales are so...
Are they a whale race? Are like whales extraterrestrials?
It's beyond human comprehension. That's the magic of Star Trek. There are things like that in Star Trek. We don't need to know. Also, the giant sausage in space may have been Picard's mother.
Well, mister, I think you look absolutely positronic.
I think Girardi says to Picard, how are you doing today, sir? Absolutely positronic?
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, something like that. And then he's like, I'm fine, shut up. Don't talk about that.
Are we never going to talk about that?
Picard is, yeah, I think they're going to ignore that.
Okay.
That he's a robot, because he's literally a copy of himself with his brainwaves, and he has a built-in timer that will make him die at the age of a regular human.
Which is stupid, but...
So he's Picard. Don't question that he's a robot. I guess he would probably need some kind of maintenance or something. Data always needed maintenance. Does Picard know how to charge himself?
He's got to last 10 years. It's fine. By the time they need to be maintenance, his timer will have run out.
Data always had problems happening in his brain and things like that, you know?
He's always getting like shot at though and stuff.
Well, sometimes things would happen, they would malfunction. Do you think Picard has the same off switch that Data has on his lower back?
Probably.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't.
No, they took that out.
Yeah, I don't even think they understand that Data's a robot. I think because they clone. Remember when they cloned Data from a positron?
You're right. They think he's like some kind of life form.
Yeah.
You're right. They don't even understand what Data is.
They don't know what a robot. They don't know what an android is.
No. Oh God.
What do you mean robot? He's an android. What I know where do they come from? What planet do the androids evolve on? I don't know.
Just make up something.
I just got hired to write Star Trek. I've never heard of it.
I think also too is Data was not mentioned once. Picard and Data, the greatest love affair the universe has ever known, for some reason, was never brought up, which is kind of nice.
Oh dear, you're a bit older than I imagined. Let me catch up.
Q, there's also an aging thing where Q shows up and he's a deep fake Q who looks young, and then he says, I'm going to make myself as old as you. Fine.
Can I talk about the way I feel?
Yes.
Because I'm a battered Star Trek fan who's been through hell for like the last decade, and just hearing that they're gonna bring Q back, it's just like, oh God, you're gonna fuck that up. You know, don't fuck Q up.
Who does he think he is giving me orders?
They're gonna fuck Q up, Mike.
Yeah.
And it's like, even though I've like divorced myself, like I haven't seen seasons 3 and 4 of Discovery, and I do not give any fucks. I do not care. I do not care about any upcoming shows they've announced, but they announced Q, and it's like, why?
Yeah, well, you know why.
Can you tell us anything about the new series and seasons that are coming up?
I think I was thinking about that when I was watching this program, Star Trek Picard. You could have, back in the old days, you had Star Trek, then you got Star Trek The Next Generation, and then when that starts to get towards the end, they brought out Deep Space Nine, and that starts to get towards the end, they brought out Voyagers, and then when that started to get towards the end, they brought out Enterprise. They had a flagship show. They had one Star Trek show, and now in the age of streaming and algorithms and millions of same with Disney and their Marvel products and their Star Wars products. We need a show for every kind of algorithm, aka person's interest, right?
Okay.
Can you tell us anything about the new series and seasons that are coming up?
Why aren't they making a show for people who like Star Trek The Next Generation?
I guess that's what Picard is.
Is it? It's not.
But what I'm saying is they have Picard, right?
Uh-huh.
Picture everything in a Star Trek program, right? And then branch it off into 7 or 8 different programs. You got Star Trek Picard, show about Picard. You got the Section 31 show. You got Brave New World, Kirk and Spock back in the vintage times. You got Star Trek Discovery. What am I missing anything? But you got
the Lower Decks.
You got animated. You got Lower Decks, and then there's something else called another animated show.
The Janeway thing
with Captain Janeway.
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, I think I don't know if that's more for kids. Lower Decks is more like a Family Guy-ish kind of
Rick and
Morty-ish. Yeah. And then, it's called, I forget what it's called, but there's another show.
I know what you're talking about. I literally know nothing about it other than that it's an animated thing that has Janeway in it.
Yes. And I think that's for teens.
Okay.
So they've taken the Star Trek property and they said, how can we break it into 9 different pieces for every kind of algorithm out there that wants this or that? I don't quite know what I'm saying. I'm saying it's a new era of TV. And so what we're going to get from this is just a bunch of trash.
We will have 5 Star Trek series in production simultaneously. How does it feel to be at the forefront of the new golden age of Star Trek?
We'll see. I am actually doing my best to be as unbiased as I can be.
Yeah.
And it really is hard. Jean-Luc Picard is might literally be one of my favorite characters in all of science fucking fiction. I love Jean-Luc Picard.
More than Neelix?
Yes, more than Neelix. The character is amazing to me.
Okay.
And the bringing back the character he had the best chemistry with, the best antagonist Picard ever had was Q. And I desperately want this to be a thing that I would like, even though in my heart, I know by the time all is said and done, I'm going to be shattered.
Q reveals himself as quite possibly a significant player in this season's larger storyline.
I want this to be good.
Okay.
Despite everything I know.
So far, and I agree with you. We're going to be try to be unbiased, try to be optimistic, try to look at the pros and cons when we watch this, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we've done today, I think, when we've watched our first episode of Picard. And this seems to have made a very slight course correction towards trying to do a little bit better, and that's all I'll say right now.
Yeah, we're very proud of season 2. I think it's got a lot to say for itself.
So when should we reconvene? We're not going to go episode by episode.
2 or 3 episodes.
All right.
We'll do 2 or 3. We'll do it like we did last time. We did the first episode, I think, and then we did like 3 and 2 and 3.
Do we have to?
We don't have to. We can scrap this all right now, and we could leave hell. We could change this background to be heaven.
I mean, normally I'm the one torturing you, making you watch Star Trek. I was perfectly fine with putting Picard in the grave.
Sorry? No, I'm not sorry. How many times did you make me watch shit? I watched season 2 of Star Trek Discovery because of you.
I didn't make it watch 3 or 4.
That's true.
I was done after 2. Oh my God, the fucking robot angel suit, fucking shit.
The red lights.
Fuck that.
The red lights.
I'm so embarrassed.
For Alex Kurtzman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5.
Look up.
3.
Didn't the Borg Queen say something like that too? Like, look up, isn't that something
Yes.
Picard's mother said too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Oh God, you're right.
Yeah.
6. 5.
Look up.
3. 2.
Jean-Luc. Look up.
Yeah, because they're in the glass dome. Look up at the stars. Yeah. You're. Oh God. Picard's mother is the fucking Borg Queen. Rich said it here first, everybody. Well, that's all of our talking for today. I have to leave now.
You're going back to... Oh.
Well, we promised ourselves and our audience that we would continue to discuss Picard Season 2 objectively. And like Discovery, I think after Season 2, I'm out. I'm out like D.B. Cooper's. You know?
Yeah. Take the money and bail.
Well, there's no money. In fact, we're at a net loss of both minutes of our lives and brain cells. But we're just going to jump out of that plane.
Red alert! If you haven't seen Jean-Luc Picard's glorious return with your own eyes, then you need to turn around right now and make it so.
Who is watching this? Like somebody must be, because they're pumping a lot of money, and they've got that new. They just cast the new actor for who's going to play James T. Kirk in Brave, Strange New Worlds. I said Brave New Worlds last time. Strange New Worlds. They cast an actor who's going to be Kirk, I guess. I don't know. I thought it was Pike and crew, but I guess Kirk is going to be in it in some capacity. But so they've got that. I think the Section 31 show is on like pause mode. I don't think they're quite in production of that yet, but you know, in addition to the cartoons, they have 3 major series, live action series, Strange New Worlds, Picard, and Discovery going on that they're filming. I mean, these things aren't cheap. There's not much else on Paramount Plus. I watched a show called Ghosts.
I just started watching that.
The BBC
one? The BBC one on HBO Max. Is that better?
It's much better.
Really? Okay.
The BBC one is far superior to the US one, but the US one is still pretty okay.
Okay.
It's not worth getting a Paramount Plus subscription for. The BBC one's a lot of fun.
I watched the first 2 episodes of the BBC one literally last night, and tonight, just to see the difference, I was going to watch like some of the American one.
It's a clever premise for a sitcom.
Yeah.
But anyways.
So Picard is a clever premise for a sitcom? I don't know.
I think it would
that.
be.
The doddering old man goes on violent, hardcore adventures with a crew of mercenaries that are best friends for absolutely no reason.
Well, let's talk about that. That's one of my questions.
Yeah.
The first episode of Picard, we found all of our lovely friends from season 1 of Picard. Raffi, Elnor, 7 of 9, Captain Rios, Girardi, Dr. Girardi, scientist lady,
Soji, who apparently has noped the fuck out of that show.
Yeah, Soji had a brief appearance, and then of course Captain Picard, and then they all go on a little mission on the Stargazer because there's a space entity. The Admiral, who tells Picard that they want to talk to Picard specifically, doesn't know that it's the Borg until they show up. And then evil Borg Queen appears on the bridge of the Stargazer, and then Captain Picard blows the ship up, but apparently Q has intervened, which is the teaser end of episode 1. And then Q apparently has snapped his fingers and sent them all to an alternate present. He pulled out all of Picard's friends from season 1, even though I don't know how he knows that. Why did he bring Elnor? Elnor was serving on the Excelsior or something, and then Raffi was somewhere else. And how did he know which characters were Picard's friends from season 1? And why did he not bring that robot girl?
Why are they the only ones who can remember? Why them? What's special about this crew of loose acquaintances who went on a weird, bad adventure a year and a half previously? I guess because they're the protagonists.
Because they all signed a 3-season contract?
You've been talking a lot about second chances. Well, my friend, welcome to the very end of the road not taken.
Cute. That fucking cryptic fucking Alex Kurtzman style dialogue where I don't know what the fuck's going on. Like, Q's talking about like atonement. Atonement for what, Q? You're the one who reset the timeline to be a dystopia.
Oh, I could tell you, but you're far too clever to listen.
I'm getting the vibe that they're going to basically steal the storyline for All Good Things.
There's a mixed bag of different things they had taken from. One of them is Deep Space Nine, the Bell Riots. We're working up to the Bell Riots.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember what year that was?
2024?
What year did they go to in Picard?
2024.
Sanctuary District? What year is this? Same year as it was yesterday, 2024. Let's go.
Yeah, we're gonna have the Bell Riots.
Okay.
I'm wondering, this is more baseless speculation on Rich Evans' part, if the Watcher isn't going to be Avery Brooks. It's gonna be Bell.
Well, they have people with glowing eyes. I think Watchers are just gonna be aliens. I'm sorry. Either way, they're probably going to cherry pick random things from throughout Star Trek and throw it in this ugly blender.
Yeah.
A lot of familiar TNG greatest hits. You've got Q, Guinan, Time Travel, the Borg Queen.
Obviously there's First Contact,
Star Trek
similarities.
4.
Star Trek 4, yep. Rios falls and hits his head and ends up in the hospital, just like Chekhov. And then, of course, obviously the Mirror Universe.
Through a mirror darkly, and here the man who holds the glass is darker still. Let me show you.
Oh,
That is our second episode.
Alex Kurtzman loves the Mirror Universe because it's dark, bitter, and violent.
And so, like, they wake up in alternate future where there's like this, it's called the Confederation, and it's like a fascist nightmare world.
It's like the Mirror Universe, but not the Mirror Universe?
Yeah, they didn't want to call it the same thing.
They heard the complaints about why is my Star Trek so bitter and violent? I don't like it when the Federation are horrible monsters. And they heard the criticisms, and they're like, we're gonna fix the Federation. And then we're getting away from there because we want to be dark, violent, and gritty. So we're going to an alternate future now where it's okay to be violent, angry monsters. Because it's the dark future.
Yeah.
It's like they can't write anything that isn't cynical.
Show them a world of their own making, and they ask you what you've done. So human of you.
That is exactly why it's, to me, it feels like it's going to be similar to All Good Things.
Yeah.
It's a causality loop.
He might be giving me a chance somehow to save humanity.
So I have a new theory, and I'm sure you picked up on this too.
Say what it is, and I'll tell you.
I don't think the Borg Queen is Picard's mother anymore.
Okay.
I think it's going to be Girardi.
Oh.
And I think Picard hooking Girardi up to the Borg Queen is going to create a new Borg Queen in the future that causes a causality loop.
I think that's an interesting theory.
I wanted to make fun of the fact that the evil headquarters of the Confederation, the Nazi-like empire that destroys other races in the galaxy through conquest, is the Walt Disney Concert Hall in Los Angeles. And then the premise is the Confederation is evil. Picard has a bunch of skulls displayed in his parlor.
There's some cheesy fun in that.
I enjoyed that.
But like the tone and music, they're going for sinister, but it's so silly. You have Golden Cot's skull, and you have some names. I wrote down some names. Picard's evil
Martok.
universe ship is named the CSS World Razor. And what were they going to put, like, the skulls in the Museum of Conquest?
Yes.
There may be tribute photos of their bodies on file at the Museum of Conquest. Would you like me to inquire?
Picard's robot servant says the photos of his Romulan love and
That's
husband are displayed in their dead bodies. The photos of their dead bodies are displayed in the Museum of Conquest. And Picard has slaves. Like literal slaves.
And they're about to celebrate Eradication Day.
Yes.
Like, why are they treating this so seriously? When this is obviously schlock. This is crying out to be a comedy.
Do you remember a Voyager episode where the Doctor, his hollow emitter, ends up on an alien planet like 1,000 years in the future, and they turn him on? The historical events of when Voyager visited their planet were so like distorted by history.
That's the episode you took the clips of Janeway from out of context in the Plinkett review?
I did. And Janeway has like guns all over walls, and it's played for yucks.
Yes.
Because obviously that wasn't exactly accurate, but it's kind of funny that this race kind of viewed her as that hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And so that's kind of the joke, but yes, a display of skulls is kind of comical.
Yeah.
And it's has this like very serious tone to it.
But Q is not hamming this up at all, and what a waste.
Yeah, he's very kind of sinister Q.
He's deadly serious. It's serious business now. Well, gee, I'm glad you brought Q back after 30 years so we can't have fun with him.
You want me to come to the chase? Yes! For the chase is cut, Picard. The chase is bleeding. The chase is dying in your arms. And I am but a suture in the wound.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot my hat.
There's fun Q episodes, right? There's like the Robin Hood one and...
Robin Hood?
The one where he shows up and that girl, the young girl, has Q powers. There's light Q.
I don't interfere with what you're teaching.
You would be incapable
And I don't
of
think it's asking too much that you do the same.
But then there's sinister Q, like All Good Things or Encounter at Farpoint, when he's the judge and he's still,
even though, like, he represents a very serious threat, the way he acts, though, is very aloof. He's having fun being sinister.
Yeah.
Starlog entry. Star date today.
And so we'll see. We're going to pause on that. We'll see what happens in the future if there's something wrong with Q.
Yeah.
Are you? Q, you are not well.
A safe galaxy is a human galaxy.
Now, let's talk about Eradication Day, a.k.a. the Trump rally. So 7 of 9 is not a lesbian in the alternate universe. And she's married to a man. The man comes into her office and says, let's go down, today's Eradication Day. Let's go down to Dr. Girardi's secret science office. And today, on Eradication Day, we're going to kill the Borg Queen. Let's bring her up from her cell and look at her for no reason at all? Why'd they do that?
So they could introduce the fact that the Borg Queen is in captivity?
I'm not saying why did the hack writers do that.
Oh.
Why did they do that in the storyline?
I don't know. I mean, the president always goes to visit high-profile prisoners before they're executed, right? I mean, that just happens. It annoys me that they're all best fucking friends. It's not like we've established these relationships over time. Like by the end of TNG season 7, I knew why the crew cared about each other. They've been through 7 years of adventure. With this, like, it all happened off camera, and now they're best friends. Like, Elnor died, right? In episode 3, and like Rafe was like taking it. She took it like the hardest out of everybody, and I'm like, why? When did they have any fucking screen time together? Did they even talk to each other in season 1? And then I remembered, oh, apparently in the vast span of time between season 1 and 2, they became best friends, and she put him through Starfleet Academy.
Right.
Keeping him under your wing.
That boy's absolute candor can get his ass kicked. So, I'm protective of him.
Frankly, I find it very pleasing.
It felt so jarring, though, because me watching that, I'm like, why the fuck does she care so much, personally, her?
Right. And how wildly inappropriate is it for her to have that little control over her emotions? I mean, you remember, like, TNG, like when the fucking sister ship to the Enterprise blew up?
Sensors indicate no life readings, sir.
Like 2,000 people died, or like, you know, colleagues died. They're just like, okay, we're gonna deal with our emotions later. We have a job to do.
All those people dead. I don't know how you and Commander Riker and Geordi, how you handle it so easily.
We handle it because we're trained to. As you will be. Tea Earl Grey hot.
You're right. I just hate making out death certificates.
Because they're trained Starfleet officers.
Because that's quality Star Trek from 25 years ago, when Star Trek was about reason triumphing over emotion.
Yes, exactly. And Raffi's like swearing at Picard, calling him like, he says, you're a terrible leader. And it's like, well, he didn't do anything.
Raffi, I know what you are feeling.
I promise you don't.
Like they went back in time. They're trying to stop.
She's blaming him personally.
Because what I'm feeling right now is intense. Disappointment in leadership.
Well, yeah, and it's like those.
What the fuck did he do?
The soldiers beamed up and shot him.
He didn't say Q sent me back in time and make the world miserable.
And she's like, you and your buddy Q are palling around, and you think this is all a game? He's like, I don't think it's a game. She's like, you're terrible. You're an old man who's stupid. I fucking hate you. Elnor, I loved him. He was my best friend. I'm like, those two didn't even have a scene together. Why is she so mad?
I have some notes from that scene around when Elnor. You want me to read my notes?
Sure.
First thing I wrote, fuck Elnor. Why is Lady mad at Picard? How the fuck is Q Picard's fault? And then I wrote fake drama.
Yeah, right.
Because this is bullshit.
Yeah.
This is the writer thought I want some emotion.
Yeah.
People are just gonna scream at each other.
Yeah. And it gives some kind of stakes where it's like, well, if they succeed in their mission, maybe Elnor can come back to life.
Yeah, it's a time travel thing. Of course he's gonna come back to life and succeed in your fucking mission.
Yeah.
We fixed time. Does it bring Elnor back?
I mean...
Shut up and do your job, Raffi!
Yeah, I mean, if Raffi was not a Starfleet officer, I could give it some wiggle room there, but she is. And yeah, you're right. It's fake drama.
Yeah.
It's outside of the logic of the show of Star Trek. And it's like, yeah, somebody died, but who cares? You're on a mission to save like time.
not just humanity, but time.
Yes, there's something seriously wrong. The entire timeline has been skewed to evil. And you're worried about Elnor, who you don't even barely know.
Elnor!
A safe galaxy is a human galaxy. So something happened in 2024 that turned humanity into a nightmare land.
Yeah.
much like First Contact, briefly, the Enterprise is kind of like in the middle of time streams, remember? And it's caught in the temporal wake, and the ship's flying, and then they see the Earth, and it's all populated by billions of Borgs, remember?
Yeah.
And then they said, well, we got to continue through this, because the Borg have already changed time. We're going to follow them back through the little spatial vortex, back to 20-something, First Contact Day, and travel back then and solve the problem before it becomes a real. That seems to be what this is. They're going to travel back. They saw a little glimpse of the future.
Yeah.
With the present, which is the fascist nightmare of the Confederacy. And then they somehow slingshot around the sun, travel back to 2024.
A single change.
What was it? When was it?
Calculating. 2024.
To apparently stop it because the Borg Queen said, go talk to a watcher.
There's someone there to help. A watcher. Seek the watcher.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Q didn't send them to 2024.
There's somebody else in the past who doesn't belong there. It was something like that.
They needed the Borg Queen because the Borg Queen could do the calculations like Spock super fast in order to input the proper calculations to slingshot them around the sun.
Yeah.
Which was fine. That's exciting. And then they travel back to 2024. I think their mission is to look for the Watcher.
If the Watcher is our only lead, then it's probably some alien species that doesn't belong here.
I know they're up against the wall, but when you bring the Borg Queen into the past, isn't she just gonna instantly link up with the collective and say, hey, bring your cubes over here now?
Well, that was the danger in Star Trek First Contact.
Yes.
I guess maybe she doesn't have the ability to.
Okay.
They needed to use the deflector dish to shoot a signal off, remember?
I wonder if they're going to address that, or if we're going to have like a disgusting Borg invasion.
Let me ask you this question. Do you think Alex Kurtzman knows that?
No.
Well, there are no Borgs in 2024. I don't know why he sounds like a NASCAR driver. There ain't no Borgs in 2024. I want to address something real quick.
Yeah.
That's something that's been annoying me in the past year or two. And I don't know if you feel the same way, but there's this notion or this talking point that's been repeated.
I think that science fiction, at its core, is not really about the future. Science fiction is really about now.
That doesn't mean your exploration of those issues has to be like surface level shallow.
Yes, but it's not always true in Star Trek.
How can we tell stories that reflect our time? You really can't do Star Trek without thinking of it in that way, I think.
Sorry. I was digging through all my hard drives of all my Star Trek shows, and I'm looking at all the episode titles, and I'm just like, hey, that's a good episode, that's a good episode. Mostly all, there's silly ones.
Yeah.
There are ones where they're trapped in some kind of thing, and they got to figure their way out, and there's ones about...
You've been infusing me with the same sort of anaphasic energy that killed Quint.
This character doing this, Deanna Troi is doing this, she has a baby. Remember that she has a baby? An alien went in her belly and made a baby that came out in 2 days, right?
Yeah.
There's episodes like that.
Yeah.
And then there was silly Quark episodes, and there's all sorts of nonsense in Star Trek. But mostly, there will be some kind of ethical dilemma that comes up. I've always liked this episode of Voyager called The Void. I don't know if you remember
Is that the one where they were trapped in the space that was draining their energy,
Yes.
and they had to learn to get along with everybody and work together as opposed to fight each other?
Yes.
That was classic fucking Star Trek.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite Star Trek.
That's probably my
Voyager.
favorite Voyager episode.
Yeah.
I'm simply trying to demonstrate how cooperation and tolerance can benefit everyone.
And then one of the people in the Alliance are a little sketchy, and they're like, "Oh, we got the parts that we need, because they're trying to build a way to get out. Right? We got the parts that we need." And she's like, "How did you get them? Did you trade for them? Did you, he's like, "No, we stole them fucking killed the people. We took it. Well, we're not using it. And they're like, we need the parts, Janeway. She's like, no, we didn't get the parts ethically. I won't use them. She's like, I have moral high ground, you know?
But why waste this technology when we're so close to escaping?
Because it's a violation of everything this alliance stands for.
Refusing the modulator won't bring back the people he killed.
No, but using it would make us accessories to murder.
If I were in charge of Voyager, that episode of Voyager would have basically been like the entire second half of the entire series for me. I'd have had them get to the point, like they're trying to get home, they're trying to go home. Then they run into like Borg space and say, oh shit, it's nothing but like Borgs for millions of light years. I'd have had like the last 2 or 3 seasons been them like turning back and doing that kind of shit, like establishing a new federation on the other side of the galaxy.
Yeah, that would have been good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is a good little concept. There's a lot of Voyager episodes that have good little concepts where they get stuck in a situation and they have to kind of still adhere to their principles. Well, we all remember Voyager Distant Origin. Future dinosaurs.
Yes.
Who live in a theocratic society.
That are now millions of times more advanced than we are.
Yes, and they tried, and the theocracy tries to suppress their actual origins because it doesn't fit with their doctrine, aka their religious text or Bible or whatever, their creation myth, which is funny because they're dinosaurs and creationists don't think dinosaurs are real. It's like when scientists in the past said something that the church didn't like, you know. Did the earth revolve around the sun, or does the sun revolve around the earth? You're committing heresy, you know. And it's like they had that kind of mindset in the future, and the scientists wanted to like expose the truth of their actual origins, but the old like dinosaur lady was like, it's like, I will have you arrested and imprisoned forever if you dare question the doctrine. And so, you know, he's like, I got the proof. It's Chakotay. Look, we have the same DNA. We're from Earth. We're dinosaurs.
It's saying something.
It's silly, but it's saying something without being too overly preachy or making you understand viewpoints, right?
Yeah.
But then when we get to Star Trek Picard, they don't seem to know how to integrate the problems that exist in today's world within a storyline that gets you involved and allows you to see both sides of an issue and understand the problem. They just say, here they are. And I don't know if you noticed how much was crammed into the 3rd episode.
Well, I know you got the Rio stuff. You got immigration and healthcare. That was 2 of them.
Well, episode 2 was...
I didn't mind that plot line, though.
We'll see where it goes.
We'll see where it goes. I didn't mind that plot line so far. I'm enjoying... That's probably the thing I'm enjoying most so far this season. That bit with him interacting with Lady Doctor.
The Doctor, yeah. But you have... there's the... You know, I said fascism/nationalism. Climate change.
Yeah.
In your history, humanity discovered a way to spare the planet they were in the process of murdering.
Fossil fuel pollution, early ozone deterioration, no radioactive fallout. I'm guessing we're pretty close to when we want to be.
The wildfires, ozone layer, pollution, blah, blah, blah. This is before Q says something. This is before you destroyed your whole planet. They've got the little shield that protects them from smog in the future, remember?
They're dealing with these issues very delicately. They are using a surgeon sledgehammer.
Dr. Gallagher?
Is that who wrote the episode, Dr. Gallagher?
Yeah.
Fire poisons the sky. Trees gone, water dry. Soon no food, no breathable air. Maybe the future we saw starts right here.
Not if we can help it.
Yeah, you mentioned the ice raid when the whites break in. Undocumented immigrants. We're gonna get you. Led by Tim Heidecker, Raffi wanders into homeless camps in Los Angeles, which are in the shadow of the big corporate bank buildings, right?
Yeah.
A nice little rack focus, which I guess is capitalism is bad.
You know, I've never been able to understand how a society could exist with so many contradictions and not collapse sooner than it did. You're killing it, 2024.
And then there's one little thing in there where somebody says, I think it's Girardi.
Uh-huh.
She says, don't bring your phaser. The technology of the time could scan you and discover your vaccination chip. You caught that, did you?
Oh yeah, they had to mention the vaccination.
And I'm like,
they're throwing it all out there, Mike.
Anything that can scan you, it can find the ID implants and vaccination chips from a future that doesn't exist yet.
I understand.
Next Gen obviously had issues that were brought up, but they were cleverly woven into the story, and they were.
And it usually didn't write the other side, like just straight up villains most of the time.
Right.
They had some kind of reasoning, even if Picard was going to come in and prove them wrong with his words by the end of the episode, they had some kind of reasoning behind the things they wanted.
Comments?
And sometimes some of our characters did too. Whether or not they should use Hugh as a conduit to destroy the Borg. People were for and against that, and they all discussed it.
The system's failure will destroy them.
I just think we should be clear about that. We're talking about annihilating an entire race.
Which under most circumstances would be unconscionable. But as I see it, the Borg leave us with little choice.
I agree. We're at war.
There's been no formal declaration of war.
They've attacked us at every encounter.
But even in war, there are rules. You don't kill civilians indiscriminately.
There are no civilians among the Borg.
How convenient.
This is just pointing things out.
Yeah.
And that's it. At least so far. I'm curious to see how their fascist nightmare world comes about.
I'm just trying to find a solution that would satisfy everyone.
We're concerned about our citizens. We take our obligations to them seriously.
Real world issues are important, but they invade every aspect of our lives. TV is a little escapism. I want it to be an intelligent debate.
I've been preached to many times watching Star Trek. When Riker wanted to get into a relationship with a non-gendered species person who wanted to be a female, I understood what they were saying.
Soren is sick, and sick people want to get well.
Did it occur to you that she might like to stay the way she is?
And I enjoyed the episode.
We have a very high success rate in treating deviants like this, and without exception, they become happier people after their treatment, and grateful that we care enough to cure them.
You can do it.
It can be done.
It's been done. I don't have faith in the people making the Star Trek now, though, to do that. To do smart.
Computer, dictate the file log shit I stole from the Borg Queen.
Would you just tell me, on a scale of 1 to 1,000,000, how excited you are to be back on the set with the cast and crew?
Yes, and of course, given the circumstances of the past year, there is extra joy that we are back again.
I hold information you need. You, against all odds, hope I'll relent. Therefore, you won't deactivate me.
The Borg Queen's their adversary. She's probably up to no good. She's a little sneaky. And Rios is now in the hospital, and then he got arrested by ICE. And 7 of 9 and Rafi are looking for the Watcher. Is the Watcher going to be Picard's mother?
That's one of the major possibilities. Picard's mother, Benjamin Sisko. Throw another. Like 7 of 9 showed up in season 1 of Picard. That was like random out of nowhere. She didn't have any past association with Picard. That's fine.
Well,
they could do the same thing. They could do the same thing with Benjamin Sisko.
But Avery Brooks is much older. Like, he can't be the same Avery Brooks.
Whatever.
I mean, I just don't know how that's going to work.
They'll pull a Whoopi Goldberg. Well, he felt uncomfortable not aging along with everyone else around him, so he decided he would let himself age.
Yeah.
That's the only fun I get out of the show, if I'm going to be honest. It's the wild speculation on what stupid thing they're going to do. That's the joy in it for me.
Yeah, I guess.
If this were TNG era, I would have the answers. It would have been a good 1 or 2-parter, and I'd be on to the next episode, anticipating it. Now I've got to just slop questions floating around in my head.
That's what it is, kind of. It's like Star Trek slop. It's just like they just grabbed like random things from all of Star Trek and just slopped it in a bucket. Yeah, that's kind of what it feels like, right?
A lot of familiar TNG greatest hits. You've got Q, Guinan, time travel, the Borg Queen. How did you approach putting season 2 story together?
I feel like being a little bit positive. I like Rios' interaction with Lady Doctor.
Sure.
That was a nice, you know what? I'm going to be a little bit positive because I just feel like it. That's a nice subplot they got going on. I'm going to see where they go with that. I also did kind of like the scene where murderer Agnes was hooked up to the Borg Queen. And her subconscious was talking to Picard. Meanwhile, the Borg Queen's trying to take her over. That was a good scene.
Yeah, I was okay with that.
Yeah.
That and I have a feeling this is going to happen. Rios is going to get scooped up by ICE, and then he's going to spearhead some kind of immigration reform and get involved in that and become like an activist.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a feeling that Seven of Nine and Girardi are going to address the issues of climate change and try to solve that problem. Completely going against Girardi's advice of not interfering.
It's beginning.
Not yet. Trikard is still tuning to the latent frequencies.
I mean the future. Out there. Fire poisons the sky. Trees gone, water dry. Maybe the future we saw starts right here.
Not if we can help it.
Did you ever watch those Ocean's 11's movies?
I probably should, but no.
I think it's the third one. I think it's Casey Affleck and some other guy. They have this big scheme, right? Because it's Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
Where they're fucking with the weighted dice. They want to create weighted dice. So they go to because they're fucking with Al Pacino's new casino that's opening.
Yeah.
I think this is the third. I think this is the third one. So Casey Affleck and his friend are part of the Ocean's team, and their mission, because they all have different missions, it's a big convoluted thing. Their mission is to go down to the factory that makes the dice in Mexico, and ship up the weighted dice. But they end up getting caught up in like a workers' rebellion because they aren't getting paid well, and they have no like insurance and all this kind of stuff. And that sort of sidetracks because there's all these different problems.
Hey, are you gonna get the factory open?
Oh, hell yes! We just gotta break management! They can't keep treating us like this! I gotta go!
Don Cheadle's trying to cause an earthquake with a machine underground. So they're trying to sabotage Al Pacino's casino opening. So they want to shake and they're trying to rig all the slot machines to hit the progressives. But I think Rios is going to do that. And if this were a fun show, I think that would be. They're going to take it too seriously.
Yeah.
The subject matter's too real world serious. But I think Rios is going to want to try to reform our immigration system. He's going to help a bunch of like illegal aliens or undocumented migrants cross the border.
Yeah.
That's going to be his plot line. And Seven of Nine is going to find a way to put out the California wildfires.
We are on the outskirts of the biggest catastrophe humanity has ever faced, and our government is doing nothing!
Who is 7 of 9 going to shoot to put out the fires?
No, 7 of 9 is going to shoot. There's going to be a new government that gets a new president that gets elected, and the Environmental Protection Agency head is going to be some like crazed Republican who wants to like start up all the factories again, and 7 of 9 is going to assassinate him. She's just going to kick the door open to his office and say, "You're causing climate change," and then shoot him with a phaser that vaporizes him. And then she says, "Those vapors from your charred corpse are carbon neutral."
What if the new president that gets elected is Damon Bach? It's part of his. This is part of his new revenge scheme against Picard.
Yes. And he has that little plastic dome, and Picard's, oh. He's still mad about that Picard killed his son.
That's why they brought the Stargazer back in the first episode, Mike.
Yeah, that's right. There you go. Oh, Rich, we had to have so much fun writing a Star Trek show with Picard in it.
Yeah.
Well, season 2 actually ultimately turns out to be a sort of Picard looking into Picard.
Rich, I wholeheartedly agree with you. We're searching for smart writing in Star Trek, and it's changed.
Yeah.
I think we'll have to kind of throttle back on our analysis of what they're trying to say with this. So we're gonna ignore that, and we're gonna figure out who's gonna be the big bad Borg Queen monster in the end.
My dark horse pick is Damon Bach.
Damon Bach. Okay, that's as the Borg Queen.
Ooh, yeah, the Borg King, the as of yet unseen Borg King.
Okay.
Is Damon Bach. He integrated himself in the Borg as part of an elaborate revenge scheme against Picard.
Okay. I'm going with Alison Girardi becomes the Borg, because here's some clues, right?
Yeah.
Alison Girardi in the first episode, she's drunk at the bar.
Hey, well, look, I'm half in the bag anyway, so I'm gonna give you a little advice.
And she says, the guy's hitting on her, and she's like, I don't do relationships. My last relationship ended terribly. I'm really bad at that. Then there's a little moment when the Borg Queen is in her cage, and she's like, I'm the Borg Queen, I'm fucking crazy. And she recognizes 7 of 9, she recognizes there's a time change, and she looks at Girardi, and they have a little moment. And she says, you're not comfortable anywhere in any time, not with yourself, because you're lonely.
Yeah.
She says something like that.
You are accustomed to this feeling anywhere.
What feeling?
Unbelonging.
I think you might be right on this.
Picard discusses the euphoric element of being in the collective. Girardi doesn't connect with people. She's sort of a wild card. She's weird. She gets a taste of that collective.
What you have just done here is more difficult and vastly more dangerous than you realize.
And what is that?
You've impressed me.
Well, the Borg Queen requested legs, so I think they're going to somehow merge, or Alison Girardi's going to stab the Borg Queen in the eye with a fork, and then pull out all of her plugs and shove them into her own head. And then that's going to be the kicker at the end of one episode is Picard's going to walk in and go, Girardi? And she's going to go like this. You call me the Borg Queen, the cutest. Girardi's become the Borg Queen. Rios, we need you back here right away. What do you want me to do about the Borg Queen? I'm trying to reform immigration. I'm trying to pass this bill in Congress. I'm posing as a state senator. Rios, we don't have time to reform immigration. Girardi's become the Borg Queen. 7, where are you? We're at a climate change rally. Girardi's become the Borg Queen. She was lonely, I guess. That's the best they could come up with. Where's Elnor? Elnor's dead, you old prick. You killed him. I didn't kill him. I'm trying to save the universe. Again. I often found myself thinking, like, what would someone in Starfleet do in a situation like this? Don't you?
Okay, yeah.
Like, what would they do? You know, what is the
What is the right thing to do? Because that is what the Starfleet officer would do.
Yes. It's not pointing out what is bad. It's instructing people on what the right thing to do is. I think that's the difference we've been struggling to kind of find.
I think so.
This show points out bad. That bad. We don't like that. instead of saying this is the right thing to do. And maybe they'll kind of correct that, and maybe some things will happen in the show this season that prove us wrong. But I think that's the difference, and that's kind of what we're fumbling around trying to find the answer to here.
7 episodes left, Mike. It might be brilliant.
7, really?
It's 10, probably. First season was 10.
God.
We can stop whenever you want.
There is someone there to help. Seek the Watcher.
It's meant to hook you and kind of throw out a lot of what's going to happen, keep you tuned in every week until it ends, and then they're going to pull the rug out from under you and say, thanks for watching, sucker.
Live long and prosper, my friend. Thank you so much. Thanks to everybody for coming out today.
Hold off that bias. Hold off that bias. We don't know.
We don't know, and we're going through this like everybody else.
There is a non-zero chance it will be brilliant.
Okay, is that your scientific opinion?
That's my scientific opinion. There is a non-zero chance that it will be brilliant.
There are events coming up in season 2 that have never been seen before. And I'm excited just at the thought of putting it on camera. And it's so far very, very satisfying.
Did you have to find new tools for Picard?
We're back.
We're back, everybody. We're back. Talk about Star Trek Picard. Bet you couldn't wait.
You couldn't wait, Rich. Couldn't wait to talk about this show. We're back.
We watched episodes 4 and 5.
Yes, we did. I have a new theory.
Red alert!
I think the show is a joke, and I think it's a big game of telephone between the writers on the show. When someone will, I haven't looked up who wrote what episodes.
Yeah.
I'm just barfing this up, you know. I think someone wrote a pilot and then said, "Here, you write the next one." Well, what's it? I don't know. And then someone wrote the next one. And they said, well, they looked back at the previous 2 scripts and were like, okay, I guess we'll do this. And then someone wrote the next one and
You mean what were my first thoughts?
Yeah.
The reason why I bring up my theory is because between episodes 4 and 5, it's like 2 completely different shows. And I was like, what? Episode 4 is continuing on the storyline that they're in 2024 and that the world is shit and that this fascist government is going to eventually take power and the seeds of that are being set. It's very political.
Yes.
This place is a pressure cooker.
And then the episode after that is like a giant wet fart that has nothing to do with the previous episode.
They're going to a dinner party.
They're in a James Bond dinner party operation and then there's Picard's ancestor is a female astronaut who's planning a mission to Europa.
You know what the problem with this is? They're not written like episodic episodes, though. Like, there's no beginning, middle, or an end. Just like things happen. Like we have the whole Rios ICE subplot, and that doesn't have like a bow on an ending where they actually they make a point, they say something, and like characters have a resolution to their issue. It's just like Lady Doctor goes away. Is she gonna come back?
Every episode is not going to be a beginning, middle, and end. You know that. We've been over this.
I know that for some reason episodic episodes that are just self-contained are taboo, but like even shows that do have season-long arcs, like even Stranger Things, that like one episode like kind of resolves some kind of story within the episode.
That's why I'm saying like it just runs out of time and then it just stops. And they keep throwing all these weird things. Like I don't even know where to start. Like they do the ice stuff, the results of the ice raid, right?
Yeah.
And it's fairly cartoonish.
Need you one Hancock on these transfer papers. Got a bus seat with your name on it.
How villainous the ice guys are portrayed.
Yeah.
You eyeballing me, asshole.
The hell is wrong with you guys? Slap on a badge, put on a uniform, you think you can treat people this way?
Adios, Captain.
And then we have young Guinan, which we'll talk about.
We'll talk about that.
She's closing down her business, the 10 Forward Bar, right? Because she's like, oh, you're here to rob me. And then she goes outside and there's like a donation center for like homeless. And there's like homeless, look around you. Look at this 50-foot alleyway and the misery.
And humanity?
You're standing in Skid Row in Los Angeles. Of course it's gonna look pretty shitty. The whole world isn't like that. All those comments, it's very very critical of ICE.
You want immigration and customs enforcement. Look, you're in the wrong place. Not that it makes any difference, because if you don't get to Crystal Ball before he's transferred, gone. No trial, no paper trail.
It seems to be very pointed at the immigration crisis, right? Mm-hmm. Because like Raffi goes to the police and then she looks at the computer and she's like, I'm gonna search male Hispanic and in the ICE system. And she's like, my God, there are so many of them.
What we want are arrests. We're looking for a male Hispanic. My God, there's so many.
Get what you're saying, but what are you trying to say in the larger context of the show? Is the immigration, the undocumented immigrants coming into the country have something to do with the future and how, you know, the evil tyrannical government is going to happen, right?
You know who has the luxury of patience here? Someone who looks like you and not like me.
And taking responsibility in ways that he hasn't quite before.
You'd think, I'm just saying, watching that episode, the reference to they took off the hood and put on a suit.
This century took off a hood and put on a suit.
The ICE raid, they're talking about like poverty, the wealth gap, and you're talking about something like you mentioned the Bell riots, mm-hmm. where you have, and they even mentioned Sanctuary District, right?
Yeah.
Rios' file just updated. He's being moved. What? Where? It's to a Sanctuary District on the border? This man disappeared.
And so I'm like, okay, I know what they're doing. They're going on this path. The 21st century, 2024 is shitty. There's the haves and the have-nots. There's politics. There's racism. There's all these problems that we're experiencing today.
You know they're actually killing the planet?
That are going to lead to some kind of figure that's going to push by maybe something that happens that didn't happen in the other timeline, that's going to push our world into chaos, that's going to lead us into this kind of like fascist government that wants to destroy the universe. Mm-hmm. Kill all the races in the galaxy. Humans are the conquerors. It's going to lead to that, based on then the next episode, we suddenly discover that Picard's ancestor is a girl who is a 24-year-old space astronaut with depression who's scared to go on a space mission because she keeps crashing during her simulation. Don't worry, honey, your flight's not for 5 days.
Yeah, that worried me a bit.
Take a deep breath. It's okay. Launches in 3 days.
God damn it, I keep crashing the spaceship. Yeah, don't worry, your flight's you're going to Jupiter in 5 days. Don't worry, everything's gonna be fine. You're only 24 and you're an astronaut. What?
Buzz Aldrin wasn't crashing the fucking simulations before the
I don't think so. No, he probably wasn't.
he didn't crash in the moon simulator 5 days before takeoff, and they're like, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, and then they mentioned microorganisms. She finds a microorganism on Io.
Yes.
So that it's the Europa mission, right?
Uh-huh.
Europa is a moon of Jupiter. That's water. There's like a frozen ocean.
Yes.
They think it's like
I think that's Io. There's
I know.
Europa.
Europa's
no, because it's a Europa mission.
It's the Europa mission, but they say she finds a microorganism on Io. So maybe they go to all the moons of Jupiter. I have no fucking idea what's going on. And they're like, if she doesn't, Picard's ancestor has to.
It's 2 years from now. Why are they going all the way to fucking Europa with a manned mission? We can't even get back to the moon. This show takes place 2 years from now, Mike.
Well, it's the Star Trek world. In the Star Trek world, we had the eugenics wars, we had World War III, we had all sorts of crazy shit.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about timelines. But so I'm like, so we go from this modern day, politically charged episode that deals with all these issues of today to batshit Star Trek, because they reference one of the worst episodes of the original series. I don't know if you...
Gary 7.
I'm Supervisor 194, codename Gary 7. Purpose of mission? To prevent Earth civilization from destroying itself before it can mature into a peaceful society.
Yeah.
That was a deep cut.
That was...
Because that was a backdoor pilot for another show.
Yeah, it's so fucked up. Because I'm watching the first episode, I'm like, okay, they're doing First Contact, they're doing All Good Things, they're doing all the popular shit. And then they bring up Gary 7, Assignment Earth. There's an episode, one of the worst episodes is...
It's bad.
It was bizarre. Let's say it's bizarre.
Yeah, well, because it was a pilot for a different show within Star Trek.
Yes. So it just starts off with like Captain Kirk, and he's like, we just decided to time travel back to Earth to, I don't know, to go to 1968 to survey the Earth. For no real reason. That's important. We did the.
Was it a survey or was it an accident? I don't even remember.
No, they just decided to go back. It just opens with the Enterprise orbiting Earth.
Using the light speed breakaway factor, the Enterprise has moved back through time to the 20th century.
We did a slingshot around the sun and went back in time to 1968 to do a survey mission. It's like
I have to rewatch that. Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Our mission: historical research. We are monitoring Earth communications to find out how our planet survived desperate problems in the year 1968.
They're like floating around orbit of Earth, and they intercept a transporter beam. Like Gary 7 is like transporting around the galaxy for no reason, and he gets intercepted and sucked up into the Enterprise's transporter room. And he's standing there with like a cat, and he's like, oh, And so he is, I don't know if they use the term watcher, but he is, I think they call him like an agent or something like that.
I'm Supervisor 194, codename Gary 7.
Yeah. Wasn't Terry Garr in that episode?
She was. She was the wacky secretary.
Yeah.
The dumb secretary.
What kind of work did your employers say they were doing here?
Research for a new encyclopedia?
So he is basically doing what Laris is doing, sitting around Earth as like a James Bond secret agent guy, kind of observing and making sure the culture doesn't destroy itself.
Supervisors, Kirk's Enterprise crossed paths with a human called Gary 7.
I mean, it is Star Trek canon. And they reference, and Picard's like, yes, James T. Kirk's Enterprise met a guy named Gary 7. Like, he has a really good fucking memory of every event that happened in the whole history of the Federation. But Picard says it, and I'm like, what? You're referencing that? I was taken aback at the gear shift of tones from episodes 4 to 5.
If they actually wrapped things up and put like a button on the ICE stuff, it would have been less jarring. But
Who
they
says,
don't. It's
everybody
slop.
says ICE. Why do you say ICE?
Because that's what they say in the show. They call it ICE, don't they? Is my brain malfunctioning?
I think you just said they call it ICE. Everybody calls it ICE.
Okay.
And you keep saying ICE. And I don't know why. It's very strange.
There are events coming up in season 2 that have never been seen before.
Yeah, no, I mean, if the ICE episode actually kind of like wrap that plot line up.
Well, how do you wrap that up?
I don't. Well, the sloppy writing. You don't know if they're going anywhere or if they're just throwing a bunch of ideas out there and they don't know what they're doing with them.
Here's
Alex Kurtzman style.
Here's how they wrapped it up. They rescued Rios from the truck, the bus. That's how they wrapped it up. But your question is, why make commentary on that unless there's a point to it, other than to point it out and say, we don't like that. Clearly, whoever wrote that episode hates ICE. I get that. What does it have to do with the show? I get if you want to make a commentary on something, right? I was thinking about this while I was watching this, before the sudden gear shift to episode 5, right? I was thinking about the U.S.-Mexico border situation, right?
Yeah.
The whole concept of building a wall, the politics of it all. Should you arrest people, deport them? Should you let people in? It's a very political issue, right? And I'm thinking about Star Trek Voyager. Captain Janeway is flying in a spacecraft called the Star Trek Voyager, right?
Yeah.
And they encounter a planetary system. Now, you can help me write this, right?
Okay.
Let's say there are 2 planets. One planet has a lot of poverty and crime on it, and there's drugs and governments that aren't completely working for the people, and maybe the other planet.
They have all these beautiful resources. They got pristine, clear water.
That's the other planet.
That's the other planet. Yes.
Maybe it gets more sunlight, and the other planet is shrouded in darkness.
Make it a little bit science fiction-y. Like the other planet, the poor planet is like closer to the sun, and the sun's like,
okay,
it's going through some kind of weird phase where it's emitting this weird radiation that's really like playing havoc, and it's making the poor world unlivable.
Yes.
And all those people are trying to get into the nice world, so they don't die.
They want to get into the nice world, and so they cobble together. They used to have space travel. They cobble together spaceships and they fly over, trying to get to the other planet. But the other planet has like a force field around it, and they also have spaceships, and they intercept. Right?
They have a culture that's very just like hands off, like stay away. We'll keep to ourselves. Maybe.
Yes. We'll let some of you in, but not everybody from the whole planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
In an actual science fiction episode, you would have the pros and cons. You'd have Captain Janeway getting involved and going, how do we solve this problem, right? That's what politics is. That's why it's an issue, is because there are 2 sides, right? There's 2 ways to look at an issue. And that's how you do a science fiction show about a science fiction version of this situation that exists today.
Yeah.